A brand new CNN ORC poll shows that Donald Trump has a healthy lead with Iowa's Republican voters, but the story gets a bit more complicated when you single out the voters who actually bothered to show up for the last caucus in 2012. Joining me now, Donald Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. Corey, thanks so much for joining us. As you just saw, Mr. Trump's lead in Iowa is substantial over Cruz and the others, but if you only look at voters who have caucused before, it's a neck-and-neck race. How are you going to get your voters who didn't bother to caucus last time to do so this time?
Well, hey, thanks for having me on. I think what you see here in Iowa and you see it across the country is people have been so disenfranchised with politicians who are all talk, no action, that they've stepped away from the process. And what we see now with Mr. Trump is that he's energized these people, not just in Iowa, but across the country. We saw it yesterday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where 15,000 people came out in the middle of the day to listen to his vision to make America great again. We see it here in Iowa with his record-setting crowds. These people are so invigorated. They're so excited. They wait in line for hours in the freezing cold to get inside to listen to his message that I'm very confident that those people will show up on caucus night for 30 minutes to cast their vote for Mr. Trump. I think that's going to happen. And I think anybody who doesn't think that is probably missing what's really going on here in Iowa.
Well, it might happen. I don't know. But as you know better than I do, the caucus process, it's very difficult. It's very involved. It's not just a matter of going and voting. Are you going to have buses to get people out in bad weather? Have you trained your supporters in public speaking?
Well, so you know, this, again, it's the misconception. It's really not that difficult to go in caucus. You have to be at a certain location at a specific time. You listen to some people make some speeches, then you can write down the name Trump on a piece of paper. It's a secret ballot. You write the name down, and then you're all done. You're in and out in an hour. And I think the people who are waiting in line for hours upon hours in the freezing cold to listen to his message across this great state, they're going to do that, and they're going to come out in droves. And, you know, I think you're going to see a record turnout, or hopefully a record turnout, because people are finally engaged and excited about someone who they know can fundamentally change a broken Washington, D.C.
So much of Mr. Trump's strength that we've seen has been branding. He's an excellent brander, whether it's himself as a winner or Jeb Bush as somebody who's low energy, et cetera. What happens to his winner brand if he doesn't win Iowa? Are you concerned at all about that?
Well, I'm not concerned about that. You know, your poll that came out today has us up 11 points in Iowa, which is a great honor. He's up 20 points in New Hampshire, 32 points in the state of Florida, 20 points in North Carolina. I think the people are out and they realize that they want a strong leader. And look, a lot of people would say, hey, it'd be great to finish in second place in Iowa. The American people don't want to be in second place anymore. They want to be in first place. And we're going to compete as hard as we can for every single vote in this great state so that we hopefully will have the privilege of winning the Iowa caucus. And I know a lot of people will say, wow, that's a bold prediction. But look, it's time to be bold in our country. It's time to make sure America is placed first again. And why try and compete for second place when we should compete for first? And that's exactly what we'll do here in Iowa.
I was on Twitter just a few minutes ago, and I saw Mr. Trump has taken a swipe at my colleague, Allison Camerata from New Day, who's an excellent journalist and a lovely person. And I wonder, you know, it's not going to get any easier if he actually becomes the nominee and becomes the president. At some point, is he going to stop tweeting, especially criticisms at journalists?
Well, I think, it's fair to say that the mainstream media, and I hate to say it, they're biased, obviously. You've been to his rallies, and they refuse to show the crowd. They refuse to capture how many people are there. Honestly, the only time they want to talk about it is if a protester happens. So, I think a lot of times the mainstream media is very dishonest, and I think he's the only candidate in this race who's willing to hold them accountable and call them out when he doesn't think they're being fair.
All right. Well, I don't think that I would characterize it that way, but I appreciate your answering the question. Corey Lewandowski, thanks so much. We'll see you in Iowa.
Thank you.